what is up? It is me, Lucifer2B666, and today, I have a pretty funny video. Um, it's the top 5 weirdest things that have ever happened to me. Some of these stories are short, some of them are a little longer. I hope this video isn't way too long, and I will cut the stories to the point, short, as much as I can without leaving any strange details out. But yeah, this is the top 5 weirdest things that have ever happened to me. Now, a little disclaimer, some of these get borderline offensive, and they're strange for a reason. Not making any statements here, I'm just saying they're weird, and they are unexpected situations, not exactly bad or good. Some of them, obviously, you'll see later, are bad. Some of them are just kind of strange and odd. So, yeah, here are my top 5. Number 5 is pretty harmless, but it's still weird, nonetheless. So, let's go. So, number 5. I was in 7th grade, and it was lunch, and the bell just rang, meaning lunch is over. So I'm walking towards the door, and I noticed most people just kind of walk in the same direction towards the door, but the odd thing was there was someone walking towards me, straight towards me. And it was a boy my age, and he was like triple my size. Not even over-exaggerating. He was a pretty large kid, and he was the same height as me, and just width-wise, he was like 3 times my size. So, this kid is walking straight towards me, and I've never met him before, never in my life, never saw him before, and I never saw him after this experience, but it was very freaky. So, he's walking right towards me, and I kind of, at the time, I was like, thinking, I'm like, this is weird, why is he walking towards me? But at the same time, I'm like, oh, it can't be that bad, what is he gonna do? So, and I didn't cause any trouble between, children my age, so I didn't think he was mad at me or anything, and he didn't seem aggressive at all, so I just kind of let him come at me. And then as he's walking up, and he's very, very close at this point, and he says, "You need a hug." And at this point, I'm like, no, 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 no. And he just walked up to me and full on, like, embraced me. And it was one of those slow moments, where you're like, no, and just, it's happening right, right as you're like, no, and yeah, this sweaty, very large child like put his arms around me, and I'm like, whoa, this is freaky. And then he's like, yeah, you just looked like you needed a hug. And then he walks away, and I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? So I felt like I needed a shower for like a week. And back then I had like major problems with germs, so not so much anymore. I'm better. But back then, I was like a major germaphobe. So, I mean, I'm a little bit today, but not like to the extreme that I was back then. So, like, can you imagine just having like, it was just gross. So, to anyone that's even not a germaphobe, getting like, sweat all over, it was just disgusting. So, yeah, that was number 5. By far. But it gets weirder. So, number 4, this happened first semester this year. I'm in junior year in high school. And for those that don't, know how high school works, it's your 3rd year in high school. There's 4 years of high school, generally. have never heard of any more than that unless you fail a grade. Um, so yeah, it's my third year in high school right now. You graduate in the fourth year, so junior year is the third, and yeah, it was first semester. So to give you ideas, we don't have quarters in our school anymore, but it was like first quarter. It was like within the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks into school. So I'm walking down the hallway, and this was even weirder. To me, at least, you don't see this every day. So I'm walking down the hallway, and there's a couple making out, and that happens every once in a while. It's kind of odd even to see that, but this couple was really going at it, and there was something odd about it, and I just kind of looked closer, and I noticed they both had short hair, and I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. So I'm walking past them, and my head is like turned to the side, and I'm looking at them. It was two guys. Two guys making out in the middle of the hallway, like tonguing each other, full on making out in the hallway. And, I have no problems with that, but it just caught me off guard a lot. I was like, whoa, what just happened? So, like, I had to, like, double check. I'm like, no, is that really what just happened? And, yeah, I, like, confirmed it. Yes, it was two guys. And I heard about these two guys. They're, like, in our school. They're an openly gay couple. They've gone to dances and stuff, and together. Good for them, but it freaked me out. You don't see that every day, so it was very strange. So yeah, we get into the weirder stuff now. This is where we get into some very freaky stuff. So number 3. Me and my dad were walking late at night, and we used to do this all the time. And then my brother started tagging along sometime, I think like a year after that. This was a couple years ago, and we did it during the summer because it's nice out, We wouldn't do this during the winter. Sometimes early fall and sometimes in spring, but never like during the winter, obviously, or the cold parts of fall or spring. So, or if it was like really nasty out, like raining and stuff, we didn't do it. But we would just walk in the middle of the night. And I have a whole slew of stories about walking and bumping into strange people and stuff, and that's really a whole nother topic. But specifically, this one time was very freaky, and like I said, there's been so many freaky things. I swear I've witnessed multiple drug deals, multiple like very highly illegal things that have happened, that I've noticed, but this was pretty bad. So we're walking, and I hear a screech, like tire screech. It wasn't person screech, but like tire screech, and it just boom, like it was very loud, like just almost gunshot loud. Okay, and I've heard gunshots before, not in an uncontrolled environment, but in a controlled environment, I've heard gunshots before. So it wasn't like that, but it was pretty damn loud, to be honest. So we both turn around, and I'm like, whoa, what was that? And this guy was in a parking lot, okay, and where I live, it's like a townhouse, but this was towards an apartment area right by my house, and they had a bunch of cars lined up in a parking lot, and this guy backed up at full speed and just hit 3 cars. Like full speed, I'm talking like probably 30-40 miles an hour, okay? Not full speed per se, but like as fast as you can go backing up within a couple seconds. So I don't know what was wrong with him. He looked possibly on drugs. I have no idea. He had a girl with him, and you could tell he was gonna leave, but his like girl kept yelling at him, and we were sitting there calling the police. So yeah, so then the police showed up and we described what we saw and heard. I didn't see anything. My dad, I think, I can't remember entirely what happened, but I'm pretty sure he saw something. I didn't see anything. I just heard the sound, heard the screech, and saw the three cars hit. So I kind of saw like bits and pieces of it, but I technically was a witness. So very weird experience. One of the only times I've dealt with police in a weird situation like that, but it was pretty interesting nonetheless. Very weird. I don't know. It's just weird. So, number two, we get into more illegal activities. So, I went to homecoming this year, and homecoming was kind of set up strange. There was only one bathroom. I mean, there was a girls' and a boys' bathroom separately, but it was a locker room, and a locker room that no one uses, completely empty. No one. It's just an abandoned locker room with a bathroom in it, and the locker room was completely unsupervised. You can see where this is going. So, I have to, do my business, and I walk in there. And I swear to God, it was like 10 freshmen around a locker. And they were, I swear to God, passing around just a giant bottle of alcohol. And I like double checked again. This was another situation where you kind of have to look at it twice. You're like, maybe not. No, they definitely were drinking together, and these are freshmen, so these are like 13, sometimes even 12-year-olds, 12, 13, 14, drinking together, like 10 of them drinking at a locker. That was freaky. I've never experienced like people taking drugs or something, especially at a school function. That was weird. I mean, I've experienced like outside of school, some weird activities. Not by anyone I knew, just like strange people I've seen before at like concerts and stuff, taking who knows what. But this was weird. I've never seen that in a school setting, and I was like, how the. I mean, like, if you walked into what I walked into, it was very strange. You're just walking into the bathroom, trying to do your business, and right in front of the door, and I read it was an alcohol brand, and yeah, they were doing that. So that was weird. And by the way, I was the only person in the bathroom, pretty much, besides them. Like, these 10 boys around. It was just weird, okay? So, definitely a strange experience. So, number one, what can top that? And we're not getting into paranormal stuff. This is a whole nother video. Again, I have a lot of subtopics that could go into weirdness, but just talking about, the facts. The number one most disturbing and weird experience I've ever had was at a forest preserve. And there's a specific forest preserve me and my family go to all the time. It's a I don't know how to explain it, but it's a really cool forest preserve, okay? And it used to be like an ex-government like lab thing, and they buried it all and stuff, and you can still find like the foundations and the like fences and stuff, and it's completely abandoned, and like I said, they buried the actual like compound. You can only find like the fence and some of the like brick foundations and stuff, but there's no buildings left or anything. So it was kind of a weird day. I think it was the day after it rained, and usually no one shows up there if it's rained the day before or whatever. So it was just me and my dad and my brother, and there's no other cars there. There's one car. And there's a guy at this like booth thing at the top of this hill. There's a giant hill when you're there. There's like a giant empty field. There's a hill, and then it goes into the woods. So there's a guy at the top of the hill just kind of sitting there, and we wanted to go that way. So we're just walking up there, and we noticed that this guy was a little weird. Super skinny man with a beard, long hair in a ponytail, and he was wearing leggings and a skirt, and he had a super short girls t-shirt that was clearly meant for girls, and he had like a backpack on, but it wasn't like a normal backpack. It was the ones with like the strings that you pull. And he was just kind of sitting there, and he was like really staring at us, because clearly it's kind of weird to walk up on that. Oh, and he was wearing lipstick as well. Beard and lipstick. Okay, so that was a little freaky. So that in itself is a weird experience, and we kind of look at him, we keep going our way, and we look back and he disappears. And his car was still there. He just disappeared, and we're like, "Whoa, this is freaky! Like, what the hell is going on?" So, and it was in a very open area. So he either walked in our direction towards the woods and like just took off, or there was no way he hid from us. He literally must have just took off in like a slight angle towards the woods. That was freaky. And then later on that same day, we found like very explicit writings in like a park bench table thing, like a picnic table. There was very disturbing writings on that, carved in there, and like some in Sharpie and stuff on the table, and that may or may not have been connected to him, but still that was like it added to the creepiness. And yeah, we never saw him again. He looked pretty bad. I'm not going to make any major judgments, but it was quite disturbing. That's why it was on this list, and the only reason why it was super disturbing was that he disappeared. If he didn't disappear, then it wouldn't be as weird, but the fact that he just disappeared when we looked back at him after a couple seconds really made it freaky, and we like thought we were going to be jumped or something, because it was pretty scary. Like, if you were in that situation, you'd know exactly what I mean. It was just scary. Like, you know, I didn't really think he was going to harm us, but it was just like, I don't know, it was freaky. It was really freaky. Obviously, the strangest experience I've ever had. So, like, favorite, and subscribe. I'm going to go. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Share in the comments below some of your strangest experiences. I'll have more videos like this about certain topics, but for now we'll just leave it at this. So yeah, put in the comment section below your strangest experiences. Like, favorite, and subscribe. See ya.